Is everyone faking success now, or have I just not figured out the trick? Today we're going to talk about faking success. What's up, everybody? So welcome to today's show. Sorry about the delay in getting an episode out this week. Two things happened. One, I was on a vacation. I say vacation because I had to burn some vacation time at work, but with a combination of things to do while on vacation around the house and still getting contacted by work, even though I'm on vacation, it doesn't end up being much of a vacation. And two, and this is the main reason, is some technical issues, also known as I'm an idiot. So you might have noticed I upgraded the camera situation here, and hopefully you noticed the difference if you're watching the YouTube version of the show. I was super excited to get this going, but I could not figure it out. I couldn't figure out how to feed the recording from the new camera as a webcam for interviews or even to do this recording, which is kind of pathetic because I work in tech. So I'm going to share this story because it's kind of funny to me, and it just shows that sometimes you are an idiot, like even if you think you know technology. So the directions for this camera just say I just plug it into the micro out and go directly to USB, and for the life of me I could not get this to work. I'm looking through directions, I talked to technical support like several times, I bought multiple cords, nothing's working. So I'm trying to get this to work. I even bought like converters. I'm watching YouTube videos, and all the YouTube videos are like, you just plug it in and it goes. I'm like, I don't understand what's going on. So finally, Sony support's like, hey, just go to Best Buy and buy this particular cord. So I'm talking to the associate, and he thinks that we have the right card. And I ask him, hey, can we go try this on the test model, right? So we talk, over by the floor model, and we're like, oh, the cord they're recommending doesn't actually fit into this multi-port. And then the associate opens up a completely different panel on the camera and points out a completely different HDMI out that's not explained in the directions in the manual on how to get this to work as a webcam. And I suddenly realize my mistake and that I've been trying to plug it into the wrong port this entire time. This is like 2 weeks of my time that I was trying to get this working. And I just looked at my wife, and I'm like, I'm a moron, And so I get home, I connect it to the newly discovered port, and it works instantly. And I just feel stupid now. So, anyways, now that we've established that I'm pretty dense sometimes, let's talk about the topic at hand here. So this week, I had an appointment about an hour away from where I live that brought me to what we'll call the affluent area of the county. I won't say where this is, but people from here will know what it is if I say it's an island community in the Sound, and it's about an hour away from where I live. Anyways, so while I'm driving through this area, I spotted a Tesla, and then another, and another, and in the span of about 30 minutes or so, I spotted about a dozen of them. That's a lot for this area. Normally, you might spot one here and there, like once a week or something, and it's kind of a novelty. It's like, oh wow, look at Tesla. So this got me thinking. These are not cheap cars by any means, and I'm seeing so many of them lately. Not just in this affluent area, but I'm starting to see it in that surrounding area of that more affluent community, and even in my area, which is kind of like a rural, like there's a lot of people here that have like horse farms and stuff like that. Anyways, I'm starting to see it around here too. And I'm also seeing like lots of Benzes and Mercedes while I was out. So I started thinking about it. The Model 3 Tesla, it's about a $35,000 car. Which I did some math. I went on the website and kind of figured out how much would a monthly payment on this be. And it ended up being about $550 a month in payments, according to Tesla's website, which breaks down to about $6,600 a year for 6 years. 6 years. So that's how long the lease is. It's a long time. You can go through college faster than that sometimes. And personally, I can't imagine having a payment on a car that's that much. And by the way, this isn't just Tesla. They're not the outlier. This is basically the average monthly car payment, give or take a couple bucks, like $40 when I looked it up. And a used car isn't much better. I mean, I looked it up, and the average monthly payment on a used car is about $400. 397, I think, was the exact number. And I still can't imagine having a payment that much like looming over you every month for 6 years. Personally, I just have a beater car that's like 20 years old. It gets from point A to point B. Just because I don't like the idea of having that much leveraged in case there's an emergency or something like that. But this kind of got me thinking about other things, like thinking about the size of some people's houses, the fancy house appliances, entertainment systems, remodels, boats, cars, going out to eat. It's all really expensive, right? Um, and I have what I consider to be a decent job. I work in tech, and I can't imagine having that much financial overhead. So I'm wondering, and it started to occur to me, is everyone just faking it? Like, is everybody just faking success by having these nice cars, boats, too much house for their particular situation, the cool entertainment centers and giant TVs and stuff like that? Is it all just fake? Is it just to impress other people or to have the image of success? So is the majority of society, at least American society, just faking their success, or am I just doing something really, really wrong? Is everyone eating Entenmann's and I'm eating Hostess or something? I'm gonna explain that reference real quick because that's a personal reference. I was just talking to a friend about this. I have a memory of when I was a kid, and if I went to a friend's house and they had the Entenmann's donuts or pastries, like those like cinnamon strudel like contraptions, the kid version of me was like, this person's parents must be rich. Like, I thought those kids' parents were like swimming in money like Scrooge McDuck, which is hilarious. Like, to this day, if I see the Entenmann's in like a grocery store, I'm like, oh look, it's rich people food. But the funny part is they're not even that much more expensive than like the Hostess like pastries. It's just in my mind as that kid memory is like, oh, Entenmann's, that's like gourmet rich people food, but it's really not. So that's kind of the joke there with the Entenmann's versus eating Hostess. But anyways, but like we talked about in the last episode about financing, less than 4 in 10 Americans have enough cash on them to even cover a $1,000 expense. If an emergency happens, and the average income in the U.S. is like $31,000 when I looked this up. The average rent is about $800 a month when you round up, so about $9,600 a year. This is obviously going to vary wildly based on your geographic location, but I went online and I found some average numbers so we can work with it here. The average mortgage in the United States is $1,600 a month, so double what the average rent is. So that's about $19,200. And to me, that mortgage seems kind of low. I mean, I know it's an average, but the people that have these larger houses and stuff are, especially in my area, I live on the West Coast and stuff. That's nothing, that's like maybe a 3-bedroom house, like outside the city, like an hour or more outside the city. You start going into this closer to the city, it gets astronomically higher. And then, something most people don't think about is healthcare costs. If your employer isn't paying your healthcare costs, then the average healthcare costs for an individual is like $456 a month for an individual. That's not a family. So that's about $5,472 a year if I did this math right. So let's just stop there and do some quick math. We only have a couple things on here. The average income is $31,000. The mortgage is $19,200 if you're buying, if you're a mortgage owner, not a renter. And then your health care was like $5,472. So just mortgage and health care together is going to be like $24,672. So that's going to leave you like $6,328. So already just taking those two things out, you can't afford a car payment of $550. And we still haven't even factored in the other costs of living, like the taxes on that $31,000, clothing, commute, tolls, fuel, maintenance, medical costs, utilities, power, water, sewer, paying off a school loan, things. Oh yeah, and food. That's kind of important, right? Um, and that could easily add up to a lot more money, and that would bring us way above the average income of 31,000. I mean, that probably bring you closer to like 50 or 60, maybe, and you still wouldn't be saving any money. So how are people buying these cars and boats and going on vacations and buying expensive stuff when the average income and spending statistics just don't jive with the ability to do that? So is it credit? Are we as a society leveraging so much debt to keep up with the Joneses, you know, to show that we're successful, that we've made it? So I did a quick look up on this. So Americans owe $807 billion across 506 million credit cards. 807 billion. That's almost $1 trillion in debt. And that doesn't include car loans or college loans. College loan debt is another $1.2 trillion from what I could find. And I couldn't find anything on the average car debt, but I'm seeing a lot of newer cars out there. So it's got to be a hefty amount. So I think the answer really is that we are debt leveraging like crazy to keep up with this way of life. And I'm concerned about that, especially when it comes to the Human Betterment Project, because by chasing these Joneses and keeping up with that fake lifestyle, you're going to create a feedback loop, basically. So we're going to continue to pull out more credit to buy new expensive things. The market will see this as accessible money from the consumer and raise their prices to make more of a profit. So then we're going to take out even more credit to meet that new increase, and on and on and on. So that doesn't set us up to be financially independent or financially secure. So I think for the the Human Betterment Project, we need to find a way to avoid this situation. Like you don't want to just drive a junky car or not enjoy life, but maybe we should like pull back a little bit and kind of delay that instant satisfaction or that the shiny new object, so that we're more stable in the future. We can have it eventually, maybe, if we're smart with our money, but I think placing our emphasis on keeping up with the Joneses and chasing that image of success is not real success. So I think, to me, it seems like most people are faking it. They're faking the image of success. But even if they don't realize they're doing it, and I'm worried about people, the stress that could involve. What happens when that emergency that we were talking about before, that the $1,000 is supposed to cover, happens, and you're leveraged so far out that there's no way you could not even afford that. Now you can't make those credit payments. You can't make those loan payments. And then you're probably going to have to declare bankruptcy, right? And then it takes like 7 years or something like that to recover from a bankruptcy. And it's not a good situation to be in. And I'm concerned that as a society, we're chasing the flashiest iPhone, the flashiest car, in an attempt to project success. And honestly, you're probably already successful already. That's just a false image of success. If you can provide for your family and for yourself, and you're trying real hard, you're successful. Like, you're doing what you need to do to provide, and that's success. Not the flashy cars, not the brand new iPhone, whatever. But people seem to be living on credit to sustain this lifestyle, and to me, that seems like a form of faking it. It's an interesting phenomenon, and it's something that crossed my mind as I was seeing all those Teslas, and I just thought I would talk about it because I just saw one after another rolling by. I think the final count for the day was like 17 total. I would just, as I was driving around, if I spotted one, I'm just like 15, 16. And it was just such a strangely high concentration of them that it got me thinking about this problem of keeping up with the Joneses, or are we faking it? You know, is everybody faking it, or is there some trick that I haven't figured out? I mean, I'm trying, but I can't imagine spending at that level or having that much credit leverage over me. So I'm not gonna lie and say I don't wish I was at that level where I could buy something like that and drive a Tesla around. And hopefully someday I will be when I reach that like financial independence and comfort level. But I'm truly beginning to suspect that the majority of people are faking it until they make it. And I think that for our own mental health and financial health at the Human Betterment Project, we don't want to fall into that trap. We want to enjoy life, but don't over leverage yourself or overstretch yourself financially like that, just to keep up with the image. Because at the end of the day, I don't know if anybody really cares what kind of car you're driving. It doesn't change their perception of you, I don't think. They might think like, hey, that's a really nice car, that's a really nice house, kind of thing. But I don't think that it changes what they think about you, the person. So what do you guys think? Do you think that most people are faking it? Do you feel the same way that I do, where it doesn't seem to you like everybody else has it figured out? They figured out some financial hack that you didn't, or do you think that everybody else is faking it? So why don't everybody? Why don't you think about that? Go ahead and comment down below, and let me know: are people faking it? Is there some financial trick that some people figured out that none of us did, or that the majority of us didn't? Stay tuned for the next episode. I was able to write a bunch of scripts or ideas, so there's going to be quite a few videos coming out here soon, and I got some other things, kind of cooking. If you want to see more stuff like this, go ahead and like and subscribe down below. Leave me a comment on what you'd like to see, any questions you have on like different subjects that you think would be for the Human Betterment Project that you'd like us to cover. We're going to be covering some sleep stuff here soon. I'm reading an interesting book about that and why that's important. We'll be talking about more like time management, productivity things. I've got a bunch of stuff coming down soon. So everybody stay tuned and remember to like and subscribe. It really helps out. And I'll see you guys later. Have a good day.